Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Watson.
Here.
Lynch.
Here.
Urick.
Yes.
And I'm also present.
We
three
have-
sets of meeting minutes.
We have before us the June 23rd special meeting minutes. They're presented. Do we have any corrections or additions, deletions to the minutes?
Make a motion to approve.
Approve as presented. I will second.
Lynch.
Yes.
Urick.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
You have before you the minutes of the June 23rd regular meeting of the Amherst Township Trustees. Again, are there any corrections, additions, deletions to the minutes?
Motion to approve as presented.
I will second.
Lynch.
Yes.
Urick.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
You have before you the minutes of the July 3rd emergency meeting of the Amherst Township Trustees. Are there any corrections, additions, deletions to those minutes? If there are none, do I have a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
Second? I will second.
Watson.
Yes.
Urick.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Right. And we have before us reading of the bills and investments. You have before you the financial reports and the payment listings. Do we have a payment listing?
Yep, it should be in there.
I'm not showing it. Is that underneath here? Hold on one moment. There, I found it. No problem.
So it's pretty much basic monthly bills. There was, other than our property tax, second half. And I thought I had paid the full, but I went back and checked because I had not appropriated enough money in January to pay the full, so, which I've done in the past. I've paid it full in the past, so I had to second guess myself, but.
All right,
So
you got it
that's-
right.
Okay, do you have revenue and
I do,
expenditures?
month-to-date, or I'm sorry, year-to-date revenue is $1,080,940.97. It's right on that sheet, David. And then our year-to-date expenditures are $704,960.89.
Right.
And I know I had reported that we were waiting to see if the state auditor could do the AUP audit for the 24-25 years, and they can. I forwarded that all to you, that it is a shortened version, which is good news. Also good news, that they've already begun to work on that when they were finishing the 22-23 audit, and that is also in the books. So
I was
one
reading
more.
through that audit and had a headache by like page 3, so yeah,
Yeah.
good work on that.
24, 25 is done then?
22, 23 is done.
Okay, we're still
24,
waiting.
25 they're working on, but they've already completed some of the work when they were here
Earlier.
finishing the 22, 23. They brought 3 people with them because they were trying to get it done quickly as they could. And then I had earlier in the year checked about getting a new credit card for Jeremy, and what I had found out was that our credit cards are obsolete, and if we were going to make the change, we had to go to a whole new different card that they offer. So when Linda contacted me and said that she needed to cancel hers and we needed to get Morgan one, I was like, perfect timing, I can get everybody taken care of. So Huntington does require you to sign their commercial card resolution. I had spoken with you and I didn't think we needed a formal written up one, but I had written down, move to approve the signing of the commercial credit card documentation giving the fiscal officer the authority to update our township credit cards.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, what is this?
This is, I need your and Neil's signatures on this paperwork for Huntington. to-
Updated credit card?
Yes.
Let me write that down.
Ours are so old
Dated CC, and who did that, Neil?
And Jeremy.
Jeremy second, yeah. And essentially, David, is our policy spells out the credit card usage and authorization and the total amounts that are there.
Which is what they're asking, and
Right.
I just needed to verify, or you need to verify that, yes, that is the
And the
case.
spreadsheet that you provide us, Chris, every month when we get the invoice, if you notice, the spreadsheet includes every one of those items that are specified in the policy manual and are also specified in the Ohio Revised Code as being there. So that's why we created the spreadsheet, so that we never miss something. It's
Right.
just always there.
So I assume that it'll probably be within a month that we'll have the new cards once, because I'll send this to her tonight, providing she's not on vacation. So it would be Neil, Jeremy, myself, and Morgan and Kevin. David, are you interested now that we're going to?
I haven't had a problem with the credit card, except maybe at the convention, or that would be about the only time. But
That's basically when
Yeah,
Neil
that's-
uses his.
That's when we use it, right?
It's, yeah, because it's, David, it's usually like October, you want to secure your room before they fill up to get the lower price. And so you can secure that with a township credit card. And some of the hotels sometimes want proof that you are a government employee to get the government discount, which that credit card helps in showing that, plus your ID. And then as far as payment, the payment's all on that credit card, and you can submit that to Chris versus using your personal card and asking for reimbursement. Okay, so there are some advantages in that, but yeah, that's the only time I've used it. There have been a few times you'll see it'll show up as my name, but it's usually where somebody's trying to get supplies. It's usually if there's a zoning update and Georgiana needs supplies to update the zoning in terms of printing.
so what is your proposition to get a card?
It's up to you. I assume this is
I
going to
could
be
get one,
this-
but I can guarantee you 90% of,
Well,
99% of
you
the time
would
it'll be
only
locked
use
in
it-
the safe.
Okay, well.
If you want to
maybe
get
we'll do
one
that.
and have it, and then,
So this, it will get signed tonight, based on, we'll do roll call after that. And then I don't know what will follow. Will you have to fill out applications? I don't know, but this is step one, so.
I think it's best, David, if you have it, because then Chris can always look it up on any expenditure you've made. It's there. Let's say you lose your receipt. The way our policy's written, you've got to sign an affidavit now. Geez, I'm sorry I lost the receipt, because we say you got to turn in a receipt. Well, now, if you've got your card, Chris can see it as to what you did, where you spent it, how much you spent.
Which is one of the big advantages of going to the new card, because I can see everything online versus I can't see anything right now because they're so antiquated.
Mhm. So I would encourage you to get it, but it's up to you.
And I can keep it locked up.
yeah,
except
that's
when
what I
you
would
need
say.
it.
You order it, and then, like I say, it'll be locked up 90% of the time.
Okay.
Tuck in the
99%
back of
of
your
the
wallet
time.
so you don't use it by mistake.
Oh, no, I won't even carry them. Well,
So Lynch,
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Gehrig.
yes,
That's all I have.
Chris, on the Columbia printing for the newsletter, is
Yes.
that one mailing?
Yes.
Okay, does that include postage?
Yes, but,
Okay.
and that's going up. So
Yeah.
we've gone from like $1,500 a newsletter to almost three, whatever it was.
How many houses is that going to roughly? Do we know? Okay. How
We're
many?
gonna get an exact number.
about 2,000.
2,800-ish?
It'll be
Okay.
just under
Okay.
3,000.
It's a big expense.
Okay. Well, at this, wait a minute. I make a motion that we approve the financial reports and accept the payments of items on the payment listing as specified in the documents provided by the fiscal officer.
Second?
Gehrig,
Oh, hold on. Yes,
Watson,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
we never did that. We almost moved on.
We almost did. We'll have to switch those.
Okay, well, let's see what we've got here. At this time, we usually offer a welcome to whoever is in the audience and invite any audience concerns. But at this time, it looks as if there's no one in the audience. So we will go to the next item on the agenda, which is our correspondence and announcements. Do you have anything to bring forward, Jeremy?
I'll go through it under reports here.
Okay, do you have anything to bring forward, Neil, at this time?
I'll also do it under reports, David.
Okay, I have one item. To me, it's rather sad, but I will read it to you. It says, trustees, we discussed in person on May 12th. I am writing to formally confirm that I will be retiring at the end of this month, my last day of work being July 24th, 2026. Thank you for your support, encouragement, and the opportunities I've had during my time here. I have truly enjoyed working with you and the team, and I will always appreciate the friendships and experience I have gained. Sincerely, Linda Ashley. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Linda for all the work that she's done, for all that she's done to keep the place going, and she will definitely be missed. And it'd be an understatement for me to say that I will miss seeing you go.
Thank you, David.
You're going to leave a hole here, Linda. You're going to leave a gap where you were. So at that, I wanted to bring that forward to the board. I know that we as a board have been in the process of finding a replacement for Linda, and we may further discuss that during an executive session. But at this time, I wanted to bring that forward formally. Linda announcing her retirement. Once again, thank you for your years of dedicated service, Linda.
Thank you.
I'll echo what you said, David, but I don't know if Linda so much accepted a position at Amherst Township or got conscripted into it. I remember
A little
when
of both.
first time I heard from Linda, there was Linda, Christine Winrod, Garnet Shockey, I'm not going to go, a whole host of residents all upset because they had just been informed their water and sewer rates were now going to be 200% of the rate in the city of Lorraine, and what could they do about it? And it's, other than advocating and getting the group together and very organized, you're kind of limited. And so I challenged them, if you're committed and persistent. And it was wonderful seeing how, as we put together a strategy and approached the city of Lorraine and also the Board of Commissioners to get something that was better for the residents. It's not as good as we'd like, but it's better than what they had. It just looked like one political entity really taking severe advantage of people. But I still remember when we went to the various meetings, Christine and Linda were great about presenting, I'm just a mom, trying to get by, what is this, and going up against the political machine. And they just didn't back down. And when we saw that effort and that ability and that knowledge, we posted an opening, and fortunately Linda was one that applied. There were actually several other good candidates that applied at that time. But I think that gave her an indoctrination of what it's like in a public venue and how you really got to get in the game if you really want to make a change. And I know a previous trustee made the same challenge to me when I did something similar to what Linda was doing, trying to find out what was going on in this township. And though that trustee challenged me and said to get in the game, and he tried to take credit for me being a trustee, as did former Commissioner Betty Blair. I told him it was actually Dennis Abraham. Because Denny tried to browbeat me and shout me down. And we ended up working well together and becoming friends afterwards. But, I'm going to say Denny's the one that pushed me into it, because it seemed like, boy, who is this guy that represents me? I can tell you I was very angry at him that first meeting. But just like Linda was persistent, Christine was persistent, I did the same thing. And so you got conscripted into the township as I did, Linda. But again, thank you. And we do expect you to still help in the transition as we go through this, because it's, there's going to be a disruption. There's no doubt about it. There's going to be a disruption with such a small staff that we have. Okay.
I'm just down the road.
Okay. Well, as we go forward, you're going to see there's another item here you got to do before you leave, but it'll be a good training exercise for Morgan also, since it'll be one of those items that she typically doesn't do.
Okay.
Well, thank you. And Jeremy, I know Linda's new to you, but
Yeah, been great though. It's been a pleasure. It's not because I joined that you're leaving, right? Yeah.
Told you, brush your teeth.
Yeah.
All right. Next item on the agenda, we want to move into reports. Let's go to ambulance service. Do we have anything under ambulance service?
nothing to report, David.
Do we have a meeting date yet? Has anything been said as far as a meeting
Brandon's
date?
still trying, the City of Amherst Fire Chief is still trying to coordinate schedules between all the members to make sure he has a quorum.
All right. Sheriff's Department, there is no deputy in attendance. Fire Prevention Officer, Chris Nyart, he is not present tonight either. Zoning Inspector, Ryan Vallingen.
Yeah, year to date, we have 136 total permits. We've collected $155,765.26. We have a $19,000 park fee. We have nothing to report for the Board of Zoning Appeals and nothing for the Zoning Commission. I was called today about Speedway going in at Sandstone Parkway. So they've begun the process. We'll be looking forward to that future work. Other than that, I have nothing else to report.
Okay. The only item that I would add would be that the Zoning Commission did meet on the 7th, a week ago, for a public hearing on the Big Happy 60 property on Pal South Amherst Road, on the west side, right where you're going out of Amherst. And the results of that public hearing were that to deny the rezoning request. The rezoning request was to go from residential agricultural to light industrial. And as a result, we need to set a meeting. I sent out a public hearing notice. We'll set the meeting for, we have enough time for next meeting on the 28th at 7:30. We'll have a public hearing on the rezoning of proposed rezoning for that property from residential agricultural to light industrial. That's all I have to add on the zoning. Next item, roads, parks, and cemetery. Road Superintendent Smarsh.
Well, for starters, I want to personally thank you, Linda. 10 years ago, this coming October, I was put into this seat, and I was kind of going in blinded a bit. Predecessor didn't tell me nothing, and Linda helped me tremendously. And we're mowing, and we're trimming trees. Linda worked with her today. We got all the good wording right. Sent it to Sean for the round 41. 2 jobs we got sent in, and that's 300 feet on gray bark and 2 catch basins, and 260 feet on oak knoll with 2 catch basins. That's all I have.
That's what you've got proposed for,
We sent them to Sean
to Sean for an estimate.
for an estimate. Yep.
Good. Some of those areas. Anything else?
That's all I have.
One other item. I believe there was discussion for a truck,
Yes.
and at this time, bring that forward. I believe you put together a resolution, Neil, and I think working on this with Kevin, whatnot, come to conclusion to just bid this out on our own.
Yes, David, I've been in contact with Nicholas Kraft who's the purchasing coordinator for ODOT's cooperative purchasing, and also Assistant County Prosecutor Barb Tamas on this. And based on the timing and what's available, it sounds like if you find a pre-built truck, it's really not compliant. You have to order it in their build schedule, which just pushes things out. You know, it'll be 2 years by the time we get it outfitted before we have a truck. We're aware of one truck out there because we did receive a proposal. We are waiting on the dealership to tell us that they are compliant with the ODOT specification, but and I know Kevin's been working to get that information in between his regular work, and I know it's difficult. So I decided to take that on myself and go directly to the source on this, since we weren't hearing from the dealership, and found out that we can't get that truck using the ODOT competitive bid. So there's an alternative. We can bid it ourselves. Typically, you don't want to do that because of the added work, and you just, you know, sit on the coattails of the Department of Administrative Services, or ODOT. But with this, and working with the prosecutor's office, is structured public bid notice. And essentially, all we're doing is referencing the ODOT spec. So we want a truck that meets the ODOT spec. And we opened it up for the model years 2025 through 2027. Now, they're not in the 2027 production season yet, but we're aware of a 2025 truck that actually does fit this bill, and there may be others out there. And that truck is more than $18,000 less than what ODOT's bid price is. So it'd save us some money, might help pay for some of the finance costs, since we're hoping to do this over a 7-year term lease purchase option. But that's something we can work out later. So the first thing is to put this notice to contractors out that we are open for this bid, to see what type of response we might obtain for a particular truck that's on a lot that meets the ODOT bid spec. It also has to be of the construction, and it should be, if it meets their spec, that it can accommodate the add-on for becoming a fully outfitted plow truck. So we're talking the dump, the hydraulics, the electronics, the salt spreader, and whatnot that's on there, and some of the safety lights. So that's why we put this together now. We know ODOT's current contract will end at the end of this month. They'll be letting a new contract. It'll be several months before they get final pricing, award different bids, which now that for sure it's 2 years out before we see one. So we don't want to wait on that.
We're already 2 to 3 years in on this too, right?
We were, because that was a different situation. We had ordered one through ODOT, originally had bid one that was a complete plow truck. That's what we ordered. Unfortunately, the supplier that ODOT was a confirmed supplier for ODOT, won the bid. Their sales guy that we worked with left, unbeknownst to us, and we're calling, what's going on with this truck? Well, then the organization sent in their manager and said, oh no, you got to buy the truck first. You're not getting a fully outfitted plow truck. And Linda and Kevin and I had multiple meetings with this gentleman. He said, wait a minute. And so it finally printed out all the documentation. This is what we got. I think he was a little stunned. I suspect he really didn't know what his company had bid on and what the details were. But he stalled us. They had a truck they wanted us to buy, just a chassis, and we said, no, the agreement is a fully outfitted plow truck. And here's the terms, and we're going to do a lease purchase. And so and we worked with the prosecutor's office. We finally decided we were getting this shuffle. We just said the heck with it. We went back and forth. So that's where we looked at the current bid price. Well, by the time we got this decision, we're now in February. And so working with Nicholas Kraft to get through things and get this done, well, they're getting in towards the end here. But we were aware of this other vehicle that existed that meets the criteria, but we're relying on a different supplier to show us it meets ODOT specification. But since we weren't hearing from them, and they're brand new in our area, we also chose, at this time we were looking at it, because, geez, the dealer's right in our township, brand new. That'll make it easier for us when we need maintenance or have to talk with someone. But after the communication I've had with Nicholas Kraft is, technically that's not going to meet their specification. So that's where in the conversation with the prosecutor, we've decided to bid this ourselves. But, essentially we're going through the effort of the bidding, but we're still kind of tagging on to ODOT by saying, do it to what they specified. Now, ODOT specified multiple different trucks. We're only interested in this particular size truck here, not the large. We're not going in with the tandem axle trucks that they've got. We're not getting any, side plow on it, because though ODOT has the truck separate from the plow, they did have them put in also for outfitting with a hitch what those individual costs would be. So we have that information, and we will most likely, as opposed to going to Gledhill, which we were looking at the last one, which is over a year for them to get it outfitted, is we may use a local supplier again here in Lorraine County to get it outfitted. It'll still take them a year to get it done. I mean, that's just the way the situation is on these things. So all we're doing is putting this bid out, see what we get. We've opened it up for model years 2025 through 2027 to give more flexibility, because there are very few of these trucks that are actually kept on a lot anywhere. We know there's at least one, there may be others, and we will put it on the township's website and social media, to see if there's any types of interest in here. So hopefully we do get some. As I said, we know there's one truck that is already $18,000 less than ODOT's pricing.
So this will be your motion, Neil?
Yes, as it's prepared here.
Okay, I will.
Just, sorry, one other question on that. Why do a 7-year lease purchase? We have the cash for it, don't we?
Well, it's for cash flow, but we've got cash now for two items. Biggest reserves we have in cash are because we had the ARPA funds are still there. We spent the ARPA funds, but we conserved what we normally would spend. We've also we get a significant amount of money coming in because of all the construction going on in the Amherst Township. That's not the norm. If you look at Ryan's report just this year, and this doesn't show the previous year, this is just this year, there's almost $156,000 for the zoning. That's in the square footage. The $19,000 we normally won't get. That's a result of the negotiated settlement that's in there. So that money's flowing in, but you can't expect that to be coming in consistently. So that's what's caused this buildup. Then we have the second item, but we know now the group that's trying to axe the property tax will not get it on this November ballot. They're coming back again, though. They haven't given up, because the way the statute's currently written, they can keep collecting signatures.
Right.
And if that goes on, I really think people are not going to vote for it, but I know many elected officials believe they will get rid of property tax. That's our number one source of revenue.
So just trying to
because that'll buy you a year, where you just don't fold up.
Right.
And so that'll buy you a year. I hope we don't have to. So for cash flow, we'd like to go up to 7 years here. It's going to be a little more than what our original budget was, Chris, which I think was around $47,000 a year that we are looking at for both a fully outfitted plow truck, and because we'll be dealing with two different entities, unless we can combine it with one financial institution, if the entity has the better terms in the lease purchase, which is what we found out the last time, we may have two separate ones. So one for just the basic truck, which will then be sitting at Judco, could be 9 months to a year, and then one for the outfitting, which, whether it's Judco or Gledhill, it's going to be one or the other.
And paying a regular 7 or 8% or whatever.
It's probably would be less than that. I think where it was 6.2, I think, Linda, and the last one we had. Rates fluctuate on this up and down, but you're going to net out, it's 2%. Because if you're investing your funds right now, which most of what Chris has is 4%, you get 6%, it's costing you 2%.
Right.
If you take into account inflation, we're not losing anything, Jeremy.
Okay.
You know, already this particular truck, and I'll show it in my report, what the numbers are right now based on what we receive from a current dealer and an outfitter, is this truck has really increased in cost. You know, and that's just the normal inflation of things,
Right.
okay?
Okay. Just curious.
Who seconded that, David?
I second now. I don't know if I seconded it, but I will second it.
I don't think anybody's.
Oh.
Okay, discussion? No further discussion? Roll call.
Lynch?
Yes.
Euring?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
What's the number on that, Chris?
7/10/26.
7/10/26. If you can provide a certified copy at the end of the meeting, Chris, more for Kevin. Kevin and/or Linda, even though she's a short timer. And that's, Linda, where you'll see in the, you know, that's the one where I thought with getting the, one, we got to post it outside here. You know, it has to be on the website. I don't know if Georgiana will probably still take care of that, but on social media, you might want to work with Morgan as to what has to be done there so she can get used to this and what's going on.
Okay, next item on the agenda, Senior Services and Township Administrator, Linda Ashley.
Just a couple things. Loomis Fiber, I did send over all the fire department charges for the gas, or the installers hitting the gas lines. So they're supposed to be reimbursing us. It's going to be about $2,700. So that'll, whenever that comes in, Chris, I haven't heard anything else from her. She did receive all of it. She thanked me. She said they'll take care of it. I don't have any dates, you know, as far as like a week out or two. The traffic light at Middle Ridge Road and Hidden Valley Drive, the timing is off if you're coming off Hidden Valley Drive, trying to turn onto Middle Ridge, or even going straight to Oberlin Road. I've been getting a lot of complaints. People are running the light because they're waiting over 5 minutes. It's just not tripping. So I did talk to Sean quite a while ago, maybe 3 weeks to a month ago, and he was going to look into it. But what they did was they came out and they just moved the stop bar up. They didn't really do anything with the light. That's not helping. So I'm still getting complaints. So I did reach out to Sean again via email. I don't know if he's on vacation this week. I didn't hear anything back from him. Did you hear from him today?
Oh, I did not.
He may be on vacation. If I don't hear from him, I won't be in the office tomorrow, but Thursday I'll reach out to him, or I'll talk to somebody else in the engineer's office. That's about it. Just training, you know, going through all the steps, showing everything that I do and where everything is and what's going on.
Do we have any outstanding NOPEC funds that we haven't spent, that we need to spend yet?
There's
We
about
do-
1,500 there still.
Yeah, there's a small amount because we had 6,500 maybe, and we spent, what did we spend, 52?
5,200 on the trees.
Yeah, on the tree. So we have a little bit that we have to still spend by November. And then we have, like, just off the top of my head, about 23 or 24,000 left.
Did we get any follow-up from the electricians?
No, I got in touch with him today and he said, it'll be first thing on my list. You know,
Yeah, those guys are busy, yeah. Okay. November 30th is our deadline though, right?
Just
We
for
got-
that small amount, yes.
Yeah.
The other amount we can carry over till next year or the year
Okay.
after.
We don't lose track of it in the changeover. Senior Services Township Administrator replacement. We'd like to discuss this a little further, move into executive session at this time, or some of you you like to wait till the end of the meeting?
With no residents here, I prefer we just go through this and wait till the end of the meeting.
All right, well, is that your pleasure? We'll just have an executive session when we get through with our reports. Okay, next item on the agenda is trustee reports. Jeremy, do you have anything to bring forward at this time?
Yeah, just a couple things. So one that's on my list, I just wanted to get some more information with the cemeteries. I went and visited the Kende, I don't know if it's pronounced that way, Kende?
That's good.
Kende.
Kendig,
So,
with a G.
yeah, with the G, Kende.
That's what most people call it, yeah.
And I was just curious, I know you guys do all the maintenance out there. Is that something we're trying to market as far as selling lots? Like there's lots available? I'm curious, like the finances around the cemeteries. Like are people, like how do we own a cemetery? Was that donated to the township or?
We have, you want to answer that question, David or me? But we have no choice.
Okay.
It was taken on by the township years ago, probably hundred some years ago, so it's been there for a long time. And it was been a township cemetery, and the township has maintained it and performed the burials there. That's about the story of it. Was part of was behind the Murphy farm, and then all the other land around it got sold off, and that's still there. There are several lots there. That's the, shall we say, the only active cemetery in the township. There's only two cemeteries, Middle Ridge, which is full.
Fortunately, there's only two now that we have to maintain.
And then Kende is the second. Kende is the only cemetery with active lots. But once those lots are gone, we will be technically out of the cemetery business unless we purchase more land for a cemetery. I don't know how many lots do we have? Do you guys left? Do you guys have an idea?
If I was to guess, there's got to be 400.
Oh, wow.
Think that many?
I got a sheet real quick, close. I'll go grab it.
I don't
That's
think
a good
that
question,
matters
but
for the
just-
good of the order, David, but
But-
for Jeremy's question, the best thing is you will see the training on cemeteries. Sometimes there's a webinar, but definitely, they usually have it at the OTA Winter Conference. It's not a real regular thing. It's usually for newer people that'll be asking questions like you, but townships have no choice
Okay.
but to maintain those cemeteries. People aren't begging for cemeteries because there's an ongoing cost.
Yeah, weed whacking, mowing, and everything.
These guys spend a lot of time out there. Heck, we were fortunate at one time, we had some residents that actually volunteered and had some help to clean them up and reset some of the stones. Heck, we found some of those old deaths up here of whole families with children. Stones were completely buried. But we had a group of residents that took that on. We used to have a cemetery on 58, and those graves were all moved and relocated over to Kendick. And,
They are in, if I believe correctly, the northeast corner of Kende.
Yes.
But we can't get rid of the cemetery.
Not saying to get rid of, I have it on my list. I wasn't sure if there's
What it
anything I
is,
should be
why it's
doing for
there.
it. Like if we're trying to sell those lots or we just leave it alone.
Well, people buy them.
They just find it.
When was your last one? You've had one this year.
Yeah, about 2 months ago. And I got a call right now. I was doing some investigation with Linda on a person that's going to pre-buy because they see the time is close, and it would be a cremation, but she was going to buy a lot. It's possible that their family already has a lot purchased, but that's what I'm looking into. But that was it's $880 for a lot, a single lot,
Okay.
and it was $240 something for the cremation burial,
Okay.
like high five on a regular burial for open and close.
Okay.
And that's all listed on your fee schedule. And the other thing on cemeteries you'll need to know is indigent burial, we have to handle it. Now, there are funds at the state right now, but that's temporary. See, Linda's nodding her head, she's aware. And we also, though it's every 2 years, I think, we have to wait to apply for, there are competitive grants available, which we have received in the past for improving the cemetery. It can't be your regular routine maintenance like mowing and trimming and whatnot. But special items like you've got a heavy tree, damaged a fence, resetting stones, the pathway, like if we ever paved ours, which we currently just have a stone, those are the types of things that we can get funded. But you got to wait your cycle, so once you earn one, you got to wait 2 years to reapply, but realize everybody's applying for it. And those are provided through the Department of Commerce.
So we're not trying to actively sell those, I mean, they're actively for sale, but we're not trying to push it.
Yeah,
Leave it alone.
I don't say there's any advertisement for it.
Okay.
I don't know if you would want to.
Yeah, that's my question, is like, should I be trying to push that, or we just leave it alone?
Because if you did sell and you're getting this price today, there's going to be a time where they're all going to be sold and you still have to keep taking care,
Right, yeah,
No,
so, yeah,
there
exactly.
is-
I didn't know if we'd want to have the money coming in and have it full, or just leave it alone. Leave it alone for now.
Yeah, I would say.
Take it up with our marketing department.
Yeah. Okay. Answers my question. I was just curious. And then I was curious about that Quarry Road, Ryan, that complaint we had with the noise on Quarry Road. Was there any other follow-up, anything come out of that? It sounded like that might end up turning into a bigger issue.
That's with
Is
the
it Urban
Irving's
Landscaping
Landscape.
and Maggie's Creek?
Yeah, no, I haven't made contact. I did send them a letter.
Okay. Haven't heard anything.
I was gonna give them to the end of this week before I go and take the next step.
Okay. Just curious. And then the other one, and hopefully this isn't a can of worms thing, but the comprehensive plan, so I was given that when I started, it's 2006. Is that something we update at some point, or it's just like,
That's our last update.
Yeah.
Because those updates aren't free. And it's a matter of getting the groups together. We had our zoning commission, our board of zoning appeals, our zoning inspector, our trustees, and we opened up to the public to come in, and we ended up hiring a consultant to help lead that, because having any one of us lead it, we're all going to have our own opinion, and you try to direct it there, so it's better to get a neutral party. Same thing the last time we did that. Fortunately, there was a grant available. If we want to go through an update, I know the county, Lorraine County Community Development Department is encouraging updates. It's been more, I think, in the rural townships, they've been encouraging that. Brownhelm Township is currently going through one of theirs.
so Brownhill was.
And I know Eaton Township finished theirs up a few years ago, but, theirs were older than ours. But yes, it's probably due for an update, but do you
Okay.
have anything specific you're looking at?
No, I just was going through my stuff, and it just seemed like 20 years was a long time.
It does. I can tell you that some minor items that I would like to see in there is one is making the nursing homes a conditional use, which we currently don't have. Anybody can bring a nursing home in any general business area, and as we found out, is a nursing home will actually cost us money because of, at least based on what we looked at in terms of the frequency of emergency service support to other nursing homes. So that's why, since the one we've got going in now is going into an area that is not zoned for nursing homes, is we agreed to do it, but only after they agreed that they would cover those costs for emergency services. So it's, that's what I think should be one of the key conditions, is that they got to cover the cost, the added cost that a nursing home brings in for emergency services over and above a typical business or residential home. Because we shouldn't be expecting other residents or property owners or businesses to subsidize another one. There's some others, when I find errors or things I think need done, I mark them up in my zoning resolution, but they're kind of minor. Usually what people are looking at is the larger changes that they might have, usually dealing with density or something in conservation development. The one biggest change I see with Brownhelm Township is they're implementing the same conservation development we have. The one thing I did see different is I believe they're only going with 1 acre lots. Ours allows conservation development even in half-acre zoning. And, the concept is you put the homes denser in one area to have open areas or conserve something. The most current example we're going to have right now is Stratton Corners. When we went through with the residents here, the developer wanted to rezone that from the current RAG, which is 1 acre, which he could go ahead and do and put on, I think is that 65 acres there, Ryan?
I'm not sure.
But let's say it is 65 acres. He could put up 65 homes. All he has to do is go through site plan review, no zoning change at all. That's in our current zoning. But instead of spreading them out, making longer roads, longer storm sewers, stuff we have to maintain, is you put it all together, so you reduce the road size, reduce the stormwater size, which are two of our biggest costs that are there, and you conserve the other area. Well, the thing we heard the biggest from the residents, nobody likes any development, Jeremy, first off, except that. Whatever development comes in, the immediate surrounding property owners will be opposed. But what we heard consistently from the property owners in there was a wooded section they wanted saved. And that is the area that is being conserved. That's there. We did ask for walking trails to go through there also, knowing that there's another 95 acres to the south, which Cambridge Development was the original one. They were also going to have the 95 acres. And that was the other concern, is they could develop, with our current zoning, they could have mowed down the woods because county subdivision required that they have 2 modes of ingress and egress if there were more than 50 homes. So it was, how do we get around that? And fortunately that worked out, but that is what I would say was the key change we made in the last zoning that was new. We did go through and validate the current comprehensive plan. One of the things is we said for the expected growth in our township is we don't have enough recreational space. Well, you get some with conservation development, but that tends to be just for that subdivision, if you will, right there, even though you try to link them. Usually you're talking about a public space like the park that we have on Middle Ridge Road. Well, if you go down there on any given day, you're going to find that park is just overly used in the time when, people are outside of work time. And with the growth, we're pretty much going to have to find something else, and you're aware of the work already going on, hoping to get one, though I think it'll benefit the city of Amherst more than us. Our residents will still use it.
Definitely.
I know prior to Linda coming in, we had our former senior service director was interested in one on the west side of the township, and for a certain property owner that she thought might be willing, but that fell through. And there was, Jesus, back in Ron Twining's time, David, we tried to get, when we knew the quarries operations ceased, we were hoping that would be a state park, and we want to work with the state, and we started through community development. We went through an awful lot of work with that, found out that the quarries owner at the time really wasn't serious and was just trying to create a bidding war between other interested parties. So he let us on like he would donate this or have it significantly less, and we worked with Dan Martin, who was Lorraine County Metro Parks Director at the time. But with that size of that area, we were hoping it'd be a state park, so it wouldn't even put the burden on the Metro Parks.
Yeah, it would have been wonderful.
Yeah, that fell through. So now we're in the situation, we know it's going to develop. So the thing is to have that development so that we can manage that development, and it's a revenue, at the minimum, revenue neutral, but hopefully revenue positive for the residents. Okay?
Yeah, so that was my main question, is just if it's something we're open to looking into, I can, I'll look at it deeper and we can, talk
Your
about
contact, I would bring forward what you think are some of the key changes to make, but the contact would be Rob Duncan at Community Development at the county. Yeah, he handles Amherst Township.
Okay, perfect. That is all I had, thank you.
Okay, Trustee Lynch, do you have anything to bring forward at this time?
I do, David, and I I sent you guys an electronic version of the report. Georgianne has it up there. We've already discussed the administrative position succession management. We'll be going into an executive session on that. You've already discussed the ambulance and fire. Stormwater, I wanted to be aware that I went to the Lorraine County Commissioners meeting on July 7th. Our grant was approved. There were some others there that were recommended by SWAC that the commissioners asked for additional information. But I've got a list of the next steps here, which immediately upon learning it was approved, residents were already asking for. Fortunately, Don Romankak had already given me what he believed those steps were. We've had some things change, so what I've got, so that you'll have it for your record, exactly the 9 steps we have to complete and who's responsible. I'm happy to report, I was real happy to hear the county will actually bid this out for us. You know, this is a little bit different because the township can't contribute funds, unlike the others we've had where we've got flooding on our roads and safety issue. This is strictly those property owners. So the 2 things we have to do, and we've got Kathy Perales from Lorraine County Prosecutor's Office and Andy Cooksey, who's the engineer for soil and water conservation. They are working on coming up with a specific permanent easements that will be required for the main trunk line. That's the 10-inch line that's along there. I think it's about 800 feet. Total for this whole piece is about, I think it's close to 1,600 feet between 10 and 6-inch tile that has to go in place. Well, when they have that done, the burden's on the township to get those easements signed. Now, previous, when we submitted the grant request, the county required that I get the residents have to sign the list that they will sign an easement. We provided that. But now that it has been approved, Andy is going to go through in more detail, and I think it's going to be more the termini at the beginning and end of this, where we have to get 2 residents, 2 additional property owners we didn't have before, for an easement if equipment has to go on their property. So, yeah, I mean, you need people to sign that. I'm hoping it isn't, but he's going to work on that when he has it. I've already been in contact with several residents, and that just as we put the burden on Linda when she asked for help, they're actually going to help do that. They have up until the point of the award to get their funds in. The match we had on this to get this approved was $8,200. That wasn't just a figure pulled out of the air. That $8,200 is the cost for putting in the 6-inch tile and yard drains that go to specific properties that are in the low-lying area. Now realize they're the ones that get the water, but the water's coming from all the properties there. It just happened they got the low spot. So I'm going to again rely on the residents. Some have already committed, but we need an actual check made out to the Lorraine County Treasurer, but we don't want it sent to the Treasurer yet. We want to collect those, take them to the Stormwater District, specifically Don Romankak, where he'll hold them till they're ready to go to get those things cashed once this project has been awarded. Unfortunately, when you go through this, you're going to see the soonest we would actually have a contractor in place is going to be in the fall. Possibly it might have to go to winter. Typically in that area, it's wet through most of the year. So it might actually work out better doing it during the winter if we get a hard freeze. Andy will now be also working on the details of the design. He put in the 10-inch, but as he's in doing the calculations based on stormwater, he'd prefer a 15-inch. Unfortunately, with the lay of that land, you can't get a 15-inch deep enough to reach the outfall. I mean, the water's got to flow downhill, so that's why a 10-inch, and we recognize that water could sit there for 24 hours, but it will drain. So then eventually their yards will be dry. Biggest concern is the one guy that, I mean, you see his, it looks like, you know, he can't even get to his friggin' propane tank. Yeah, it's a mess, and that's a safety issue he's putting, and that's what helped ours get approved. You know, he's running with space heaters in his house, you know, at certain times of the year if he runs out of propane. We did have last year, we had a real dry period, and it was the first time, we've had stormwater out there multiple times, look at the area, it was the first time they actually could stand where the outfall would be, because it was always underwater. And you'll see if you look through the grant, if you looked at an actual copy, you'll see the original report that was done. Even the guy from Stormwater at the time saying, I'm guessing here because I'm looking at water, you know, and it's not like you can just move it aside, you know, it's part to see. So in any case, it's going to move along, so we've got two things we have to do. That's going to be getting those signed easements and the collecting of the funds, but the county is going to take care of bidding this out, and they'll work through the Lorraine County Purchasing Department, so that takes a load off of us. Kevin's already mentioned round 41, and with those being both in the subdivision, it's going to be a slim chance we get them both approved, but who knows? We definitely, though, will want to get the mini grants in, since there's a stormwater component with this also, and have those prepared. It'll probably be December before we can put them in, but you've worked with Sean now, he's got used to this, as he's got to put the pricing in, we have to pull out those components, and that was a recommendation of Bob Kleiber at Lorraine County Township Association to help leverage funds. There is, with the chip and seal, Kevin, is I've been in contact with Sean. He says, yeah, the county has approved that. He didn't give me the date. You'll see in my report, I've got it just open. I was hoping to put in the date it was approved, but Sean said he will be getting out an email communication to us. We know that the bid was that it has to be done in September. But that, just so everyone's aware, that has been approved now by the Board of Commissioners. So those bids will be going out, and hopefully the bid's been awarded, and hopefully we can start getting that resurfacing done.
There's a pre-construction meeting on Monday.
Pardon?
There's a pre-construction meeting on Monday.
Oh, then you're already aware of it. Good deal. Then there's also, I just want people to be aware, I mentioned before, I'm getting the petition signatures to transfer responsibility of Oberlin Road to the county. I'm not going to go into details on the alternative where the trustees are aware of some negotiation going on with the county on a different matter, but it dovetails into this Oberlin Road transfer. But I haven't heard anything from the county since our last special meeting, so I don't want to wait on them, especially with us going into another winter season here.
I think it's a little bit odd on that one agreement. It was hurry up, and now all of a sudden it's quiet, and I've heard anything on that TIF agreement. So your guess is as good as mine on that. And
I can tell you their hurry up was because of McDonald's, and now it's the Speedway, which contacted Ryan, so that's the first I heard that. I am aware because I received communication from the developer saying, hey, if you guys expand your JED because they're ready to close with McDonald's. And I said, yeah, that's all done between us and Amherst. We will have to, David, appoint new board members because they've basically been an inactive paper tiger because there was no commercial development going on in that area. So I imagine we'll probably resurrect the previous members, which would be the mayor of the city of Amherst and Paul Slyman for his dealership and representing the business owners, if he's still willing. And then we'll have to get a trustee because Denny was the trustee that was there, and I'm open. You want to do it, Jeremy, or Dave, but, we'll have to go through and look at this, and I do want to call Mark Costello to see if he can take another look through their records, because when Denny left, I was trying to get records from Denny, and it seemed like I don't think he could recall where the records were, but I could tell I was upsetting him, and knowing some of the health issues he was dealing with, I wasn't going to push it. And so what we may have to resurrect records that they've already done in passing different motions. but hopefully the city of Amherst has their copies. But I couldn't, Denny gave me a group of papers. He said, this is everything I've got, and some of that stuff, I've still got the pile at home, but I rifled through it. It's like I didn't see anything in there worth keeping of what he gave me. But, you know, that's something, David, to keep in the back of your mind. We're going to have to be appointing new people. The plow truck, we've already covered that, so there's no need to go into that anymore, other than if you look at it between two, right now, informal bids we have, that would be just under $274,000 once it's all completed. Golden Acres Metro Parks Trail, you guys are aware of what's going on there, where we have the potential of land being donated to Metro Parks, but it's still dicey. It's still going to require cooperation among multiple entities to get this done. I guess one thing is, I know from Commissioner Gallagher, who is very supportive of trails, he's asked that township boards of trustees let him know if they're for or against it, because he was shocked to find out some people don't want the trails. And that's, I know, some people don't. So we've got two trail locations we're talking about right now. The former Golden Acres property, and it goes beyond that property, because it's Metro Parks property, City of Amherst property, and also property owned by the Board of County Commissioners, in addition to the Port Authority. The other option we have, you recall at that last meeting, there was a question, well, can't you link Hidden Valley? Well, we actually could. That would be nice, because that would be real beneficial for the township trustees, but that's still going to be requiring cooperation from some additional entities. We would need Amherst Exempted Village School District, which owns the land that would, in 2 points of ingress and egress, and possibly one business owner. And then it's going to require pathway, sidewalk, something, Kevin, along Dewey Road, especially if you do both of them. There is currently an access point off of Oak Knoll, where it's a maintenance access point for the sanitary lift station. Well, that sanitary lift station is now on property owned by Amherst Exempted Village Schools. Now, if you look at that, it's pretty much right behind Polanski's. And if Polanski's market agrees to an easement across the northern edge of their property, that puts you less than 800 feet from the Golden Acres owned property, or county-owned property. The second location is on Moss Canyon. Moss Canyon has a stub street, which was originally in the long-term planning intended for continuation and development of homes. David, you might remember the former owner of that property wanted the township to put a street through, and we let him know we're not in the business of constructing the streets. That's up to the developer, and if you think a street needs to go through there, bring a proposal, but guess what? You're going to have to pay for it. We'll then accept it later and do the maintenance, but we're not building the street, so you can parcel off land. Well, that might be that section that leads up to that is also now owned by Amherst Village Schools. And so that would be another point, but now you've got to bring that pathway from that southern portion of Dewey Road all the way up. But you got somewhere you got to go, David?
Well, I drank coffee.
Oh, okay. But so then the second point is, we've had discussion, this is going to require cooperation between Lakeshore Railway, but we can either send emails indirectly or directly, each one of us individually, to Marty Gallagher, Commissioner Gallagher, or if we agree we're in support of trails in both of these locations, is we can pass a motion. I can draft a letter for our next meeting, because I have nothing prepared, and we can send one that has a formal motion by the trustees. But I'm not going to draft a letter like that and then come here and
I'm going
somebody
to support
oppose.
trails. Yeah, anything that gets people outside, active, nature, I'm going to support it.
Okay,
Yeah. Walking
Dave?
trails, yeah.
I've got no problem with creating a trail system here. My only concern is in this one that we may wind up paying for these trails with, say, 30 homes or something, 30 residences. That's what concerns me. If there's a way to conserve either all that property that Golden Acres sat on, or conserve most of it, it's fine. But right now, as far as losing that area, I don't see how the bulk of that area could be lost to development, because it's all bottomland along the creek. So I don't think there's a fire out there as far as we gotta do this, or it's gonna be developed, it's gonna be turned into something else. It's gonna be there, it's not gonna be developed because it's pretty much undevelopable. It's lowland, it's hard to get the utilities down there, it's wetland, it's floodplain. It's really not conducive to development. And it's going to cost too much to, quote, develop that. So I don't see that property as being at risk. What does bother me, or concern me, is that, well, do it in conjunction with a developer. Well, then what? You've got something that probably isn't going to get developed anyway, and you're giving up 30 more units of housing so that you can put a trail in. To me, that doesn't make sense. I do want to see it conserved, and I think that's a good idea at some point. You know, put some kind of trail system in there. That would be wonderful. So, you know, if you ask me as far as a trail, yes, I'll support trails. But if you ask me, do I want to trade 20, 30 housing units so I can have a trail on a piece of property that's probably not going to be developed anyway, my gut reaction would be no. And I can't support that business model of it. I can support any other things that would conserve as much as possible of that property. That's what I'm looking at. I hope that makes sense to you. So if you want to say, do you support trails? Yes, I support trails. I would support the trail system.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is that property where the development can occur is owned by Lorraine County Port Authority. And David, I'm just being pragmatic. Jeremy, you've already gone to Jim Miller, who has that. You think he's going to give up that and have it conserved?
Yeah,
the whole thing as a park.
That's the whole thing with this project, where it gets into this like anti-development thing, which obviously nobody in the township wants more developments, and that's why I got involved in all this, to try to conserve land. So when we have a chunk of land like this, if a developer is going to come in anyways, but we can get them to donate the 30 acres and then give it back to the people through the metro parks and create trail systems, it helps promote, you know, health and wellness in the community. Like I think in an ideal world, yeah, we just go buy it and do whatever we want. But yeah, you know, in discussion with all the people involved with it, especially the Port Authority, is they're running in the red. They want to get money out of it. They're not going to give it away. And like, unless we're
going to money, they need a revenue stream. They want to get rid of some of their responsibilities too. I can see that too. I mean, it's costing them to keep the grass mowed on it, probably liability insurance and whatnot. It has trees. If one of those goes over, it has to be cleaned up. Yeah, there's costs involved in that property. I can see that.
Yeah, and he was big on like, hey, we got $1.8 million for this corner for Get-Go to go in here. So they want to get as much money as they can out of it. So if it's something that doesn't cost us money, and we can have 30 acres of metro parks, and they're going to, you know, develop that top part, because it's going to be right next to a gas station right off of 58 anyways. We get a metro park out of it, I'm for it.
Yeah, and essentially, David, let's take this property's going to develop. You may think it's not, but it is. Let's take our current zoning. There's over 30 acres there that is under the Port Authority. So there's a little over 20-acre parcel, and there's 2 5-acre parcels running Dewey Road. Parcels on Dewey Road, there's no sewers available. Parcels, now the 20-acre parcel, there's sanitary sewers, water, all the utilities are available. Our current zoning, if you went conservation development, 1 acre, don't have to ask for any zoning amendment. All you're doing is, now we do have it written, it's not typically like site plan review that just goes to the zoning commission and they decide. We set this up in our last comprehensive plan, and this is one I pushed on. I wanted the trustees to have that decision also. So the zoning commission recommended the trustees decide, but you better have a reason why you're saying no if they comply with everything. So here's 30 acres, zoned RAG. Our conservation development says you can put in 30 units. There's a restriction though, you can't have more than 4 on any 1 acre. There's about 7.5 acres up on the intersection of North Ridge and 58 right now. Well, at 4 per acre, that's 28, but it's a little more than 7, so they can put 29 homes in right there with our current conservation development. And you got 422 feet running Dewey Road on those 2 5-acre parcels right now. And they're relatively flat. They're developable. You'll have to put on-lot wastewater treatment systems, though. Those are very expensive. But it can be done. What you'd be talking about is very expensive homes. And as I stated at the meeting, my preference is that we put up 2 to 3 homes, because that's like infill, fronting the Dewey Road, which adds no additional cost to the township other than emergency services, but helps pay for the roads that are over there. May even help pay for these trails. So a developer today, just today, can put up 30 homes. You can't stop it. What they're talking about is 30 to 35 units.
And cramming them all together.
Cramming them all together. The developers even indicated they aren't interested in those other 10 acres. But I've been pushing on it because I don't want this thing where we've got the Port Authority hanging on to it to sell it for as much as they can get, and that loses a point of ingress and egress to a park for trails. So I just assume, hey, if you want this, and they would be doing it the way they're showing as multifamily versus single units.
I believe
but
there's
you
a
could still do
caveat
single
too
units.
in the zoning about buildable
There is, there's a
land.
carve out.
You have to carve out
Okay.
some of the land that's not buildable. You've got a lot of bottom land there, a lot of wetlands.
All right,
and a lot
let's
of,
go through it, David.
how many acres you got of
17 and a
that?
half acres are buildable, right? That's 1 acre lots. So it takes 17 and a half from 30, what do you got? Come on, real quick.
12 and a half.
You got 12 and a half. The conserved area for conservation development at 1 acre is 40%. So 40% of 30 is what?
12 acres.
12 acres. 12 and a half, so you got a half acre over, right? So the way our zoning says, you got to take that half acre away from the total, which is actually a little over 30. So you take a half acre off, I'm 29 and a half. And it also says if there's a partial, like a half acre, you bump up, you're still at 30 homes. So even with that carve out you're talking about, it's 30 homes. I mean, I've obviously looked at the detail on this. So you can put in 30 homes anyway, today, with our existing zoning. What we've got right now is an interested developer. This could all fall through. Port Authority could say no. They may not accept their offer. Eventually this is going to develop. The next developer may not be willing to donate that land. They may not be willing to put in trails. I'd like to see the developer as part of, when they come in with their formal plan, that they're going to rough out the trails. If we get a plan from the Metro Parks,
I don't
and
think
they're
they'll have
willing.
much of a choice
Here's why-
because it's
here's why they do
unbuildable,
it.
Neil.
No,
I think
you aren't the engineer. This is up to the Metro Parks.
excuse me,
Jim Zemanek has already said he's looked at this in the past because there was a time I was pushing to get this whole thing as a Metro Parks. This is back when Tom Williams was the commissioner. I want to see the whole thing as a park. But that was when they still had the building up there of Golden Acres. The issue was nobody was interested in that land with that building up, including the Metro Parks. And you heard, Jim, he didn't want that, it's a liability. Well, once the county spent that money to tear it down, they want to get their money back at the bare minimum. You know, and they're already operating in the red. So again, David, I'm just talking practical. You know, you don't get, as I used to, I
Okay.
just saw this song. No, you need to hear this because I just told my wife, this is a song I used to always sing to my son when he was younger. You can't always get what you want, but you get what you need. And so what I'm asking, from what I'm hearing from you, David, I don't think we'll get complete support. So Jeremy, you're going to have to write a separate email or correspondence to Commissioner Gallagher, because I'm not going to be spinning my wheels creating a letter that all of us agree on if I'm going to constantly be running up to this resistance. What I'm talking about is what's a real opportunity. It's available right now, and if we don't get this opportunity now, this may pass us by. Now, you brought up the cost of putting in trails, like it's these 30 homes. No. There's Clean Ohio funds for trails. There's Safe Routes to School for trails. There's a health district provides a grant to help for trails. We can apply, it may be 2 years, but we can apply for the state capital budget for the trails. And for the number of entities that have to be involved in this, if they're all signing on, we've got a good chance of getting that there. And if we lobby our state legislatures, that improves it even more. So it just gets so frustrating when I keep hearing why we can't do something, which is another thing I used to always tell my son and my stepson. Don't tell me why you can't do it. Tell me how you can. And so I'm telling you, David, we have an opportunity here. And if you let it slip by, it may never come back again. And it's frustrating to hear that you're trying to sabotage it this early in the process.
No, I'm not trying to sabotage it. I'm trying to give you my opinion on the issue.
Okay.
So that later on, if I do say something, you don't say, why'd you bring it up now? No, I'll bring it up now.
I'm glad you're bringing it up, but
That's what I want to
the
do.
net result of this is we can't get...
You tell me I'm sabotaging something. I'm not. I'm telling you my opinion.
All right.
I'm telling you what I'm thinking about, and I'm telling you why I'm thinking about it.
All right, well...
Okay, I said my piece, you say yours, and then we got to move on with the meeting.
And I think I logically explained how I reached that conclusion. It's not just an opinion, it's not a feeling. I think it's an opportunity to bring a benefit to our community that would really be nice, that meets our comprehensive plan. But as a result of this, it's clear to me we can't get a single letter to the County Commissioner, Marty Gallagher, as far as our position on the trails. So I'm just going to say everybody write their own. That's what he asked for at the Lorraine County Township Association meeting.
I like this project, yeah, I mean, I think it's a good compromise.
Okay, but you're going to, like I said,
Yeah.
do your own
Yep.
communication, Jeremy. Foundation Health Solutions, Skilled Nursing, Chris has responded, but for Jeremy and David, there's a Jamie McGinty, and I can't tell you if that's a he or a she. I'm going to guess a she by the spelling, but I don't know since it's just been email. Is trying to arrange for a groundbreaking ceremony, so you two need to respond. And then we did have, you should have received the OTARMA recommendations. I just put a note down there for myself. There's several items in there that Linda and Kevin are working on, but I know when we go through the next fire contract negotiation, I'll have some discussions there with Amherst where we may have to change some language based on the recommendation of OTARMA. Lorraine County Township Association July meetings at 6:30 in Pittsfield Township. I've got the address there. This meeting is for the annual meeting of Lorraine County Stormwater District. I now saw in the headlines of the Chronicle, it shocked me, it says it's going to be about urban county designates. It's not about designating Lorraine County an urban county. This meeting is for the annual meeting of the Lorraine County Stormwater District. Now, the commissioners typically in their report in community development, they may mention it as they have in prior meetings about, their intent on applying for the urban county designation so they could get additional HUD funds. But somehow the Chronicles put this out. There's all sorts of scuttlebutt on social media about this. Well, I know there's going to be a concern with a whole bunch of angry people that have been misinformed showing up at this meeting. This is a membership meeting where you pay membership dues. You can invite one guest. So it's going to be difficult. I'm glad I'm not in the leadership anymore. Somebody else is going to have to manage that on who can attend. And they may have to let these people know, if you're here and you're not a dues-paying member, you better have somebody there that's sponsoring you as a guest or you're going to have to leave. So that's unfortunate. The last item here is, other than complaints, and we can, I think, David, you have that on the agenda.
That'll be next, yeah.
Okay, I had a resident contact me, Betty Stock, she's over on Rice Road. She was concerned because they just had that home burned down there, and it's pretty much, the fire department believes it's gonna be a total loss. We had 3 other departments respond to help with that. There's no hydrants in the area. She would like a hydrant. I explained to her that's Northern Ohio rural water area. I said, I'll bring it up at the township meeting. I asked her to put it in writing. She indicated, David, she's talked with you in the past years about this and just hasn't heard anything, but she is complimentary towards you. I think she worked with you at a bank somewhere or something doing business. She's also, I'm not sure if it's a son or grandson that's splitting off a lot and building a home over there. But I explained to Betty that we've got all sorts of areas in the township that don't have hydrants. There's no hydrants where I live. The way we tend to get these hydrants, when a development's occurring, we require the hydrants. And some of them, such as on Oberlin Road, State Route 58, we have additional hydrants put in. The sandstone, we required the developer to put in hydrants, and the township, at the request of former Amherst Fire Chief, who's passed, Chief Wilhelm, asked us to get another hydrant further to the south. And his logic, otherwise his guys are dragging hoses across 5 lanes of highway. And so we did, and the township did pay for that. That was on rural water. If you recall, David, we had rural water on Oberlin Road here, between the turnpikes and the railroad tracks. We got rural water agreed to hydrant, and then the township agreed to pay for a hydrant. And it was the same thing. We had a fire there, severe fire, resulted in injuries. It just so happened we had a water line in the area and some construction, so we were able to get hydrants. I don't know that we'll be able to get it for Betty. I did ask Betty, though, submit a formal complaint, so there is a public record. We'll look at it. I'll talk with Chris Nyhart. Maybe we can get some. I explained to her we've got a new water truck on order. That's why we buy a tanker truck. We know there's areas of the township without hydrants. We have to have the tanker truck. We've got to work with the other departments and mutual aid to run water shuttles. So I don't know that she'll get what she wants, but we'll definitely take a look at it. Again, she might not get what she wants, but she'll get what she needs.
Yeah, that'd almost be a nice report to get from Chris of just a map of the township and where don't we have access, and if we're gonna be putting in hydrants, like where are they most needed, how many do we
Yeah.
need?
Where was that
actually
house
got
that burned down? Yeah.
It's on Rice Road there. You can't miss it.
Yeah,
If there was-
it's definitely a total loss.
Which house was it?
It's right where that cut through to Middle Ridge is.
Yeah.
I
Right there.
deliberately did not put the address down
North
and
side.
didn't want to do that. That's why they just said the 4800 block.
Was it the old large house?
Yeah. Drive out there, David. You can't miss
Yeah.
it. I just don't want to give an individual's home.
No,
and
I
what's
just want to know
going
which house
on.
it was. Okay.
It's in the
never mind.
4800 block on Rice Road. If you drive out there, you will see it. But what Jeremy said is actually correct, and what you're probably not aware of, is part of our fire contract, we have regular inspections of the hydrants, and we can get a list of every hydrant in the township and which water authority it is. And we typically do get those when the fire department goes out to inspect them and test them for the flow and see if there's any maintenance that is required. But guess what? You know this urban county designation that everybody got all upset with? You know one of the things they can fund?
Fire hydrants?
Hydrants and water extension for safety, which is a big issue. Now, this is going to become controversial because you know how it is. Which area of the township do you take care of first? And, but this is an area where most of those lots are taken up, so it's not like you're expecting another development. You know, the land might already all be consumed, but I'll have to work with Chris as to what his recommendation is on this. But I told Betty, I said, Betty, we need to find out first, is it technically feasible? I got to talk with Nora, or have Chris talk with Nora, which is Northern Ohio Rural Water. I said, if it's technically feasible, next thing is it financially feasible? Because this isn't something where we can dump all the township funds in. We'd be having to look at funds elsewhere. Sure would have been nice to add another $3 to $4 million a year here in Lorraine County. No guarantee we get it because it'd still be competitive. Might not meet the LMI, but water doesn't have to be strictly LMI. And if it's technically feasible, is where do we locate the hydrants? We have the hydrant designations in our street standards for new development, but it's a little different when you're putting them up on existing roadway. I don't know, typically we're looking at every 400 feet, and that has to do more with the length of available hoses that are carried on the trucks. But this is all we have to look at, but I'm waiting for Betty to actually turn in a complaint. I just want you to be aware of it. She did call, talking about hydrants. Everything I've explained to you, I explained to Betty, and I let her know that we'd be bringing it up at the trustee meeting. So that's the end of my report, David.
Would that tie into the, as we're doing the fire contract next year? Or that would be totally separate?
This would be separate because, the only part of the contract, there are hydrants, is they'd be an additional, each hydrant has a number, there'd be another one to test. But this would be long down the road, Jeremy. I don't even know if it's possible, and I don't know, David, since Betty indicated she's contacted you before, did you do any investigation on this?
I don't recall anything specific as far as for a fire hydrant. We've talked before on various issues, but not really specifically on a fire hydrant. I know
Okay,
that
well, I'm just passing what
Northern
Betty said.
Ohio, she could have said something, but I don't recall that issue
Okay.
as being coming up as being something that it needed to be dealt with. But I know that's Northern Ohio water lines out there. We need to contact them, like you said, and find out what the
Okay.
specifications are for hydrants on those lines. Whatnot.
Well, we'll wait for it. Betty's a senior citizen, but she does use the internet. But it took a while to get back because the internet was down in her area, which she knew. But eventually got through, but she doesn't have a printer. But she said she'd work with one of her grandkids because I walked her through where the complaint form was on our website, and she'd work with one of her grandkids to get it done. I said, Betty, if it's easier for them, they can type it up in a Word document, but make sure they take that form also and fill it out so we have all the contact information, location. But sometimes it's easy. I mean, Linda, you've seen them, Ryan, you've seen them. People will type it all up and it's just see attach, and they do include all the technical data that we require so that we can get back to them.
We switch that to an electronic form so they don't have to print it? They just submit it right there?
It probably could be with a fillable form, but it's not right now.
What's that?
The complaint form.
We kind of do. We
Okay.
We do get complaint forms electronically. I know what you're talking about. We get them
No.
all
No, we
forwarded
don't
out.
get them
No, you get an email forward in, and they don't always include all their information. They don't necessarily put most of the time, they don't put their address.
Okay.
When we research and we find out many of these items coming in aren't even township residents, and trying to tell us what we need to do, some deliberate, some we've had from Amherst, New Hampshire, coming in, and we've had to correct them, you're in the wrong state. On this. We always do respond to them, so they know that. But yeah, this will be the actual form, David, so we capture the necessary information so we can get back to them. But it's better to have it in writing because we don't want something, we've had this where people do it verbally and that target keeps moving. Oh no, I really wanted this. Wait a minute, put it in writing so we can address, this is what you're requesting.
All right, is
I
that all
don't know
that
if
you have
Betty
under?
can, does she drive? Because we do offer one of our services for our department is that if an elderly person doesn't have a computer and they need something done, they can come in and we will help them. We will print it and help them fill out the paperwork and.
I don't know if Betty's still driving.
Yeah, I don't know either, but that is
I'm not
just a
going to give
service.
her age, but she's older than me.
Anyway, yeah, okay. Is that it under complaints, Neil?
Yeah,
One
well,
off for her.
Well,
not
for you.
complaints, that's the
And then if she
report.
needs it picked up,
Report.
just, we can pick it up or whatever. too.
Okay, I have one item to bring up,
Or she can mail it in the regular.
under solid waste. There will be a consortium meeting tomorrow, July 15th at 5:30 at the solid waste recycling center on Abbey Road. At this time, it appears there's only 4 entities that will be present. However, there will still be a meeting. It won't be an official meeting. However, there may be a presentation. I think Jamie's supposed to be there. I can't say there won't be a meeting because I don't know if the necessary people will show up, necessary amount, which is what, 7 or 8. So you could have them show up at the last minute. But anyway, I did want to let you know there is going to be a consortium meeting at this time. It looks like it won't be an official meeting because there won't be a quorum, but it is scheduled to take place tomorrow at 5:30. That's all I have under reports. Do we have anything under complaints and corrective action that you want to bring forward, Jeremy?
No, you guys have copies of these complaints. I don't know if that's something we address here, or we just deal with.
Yes, I would think we do.
Right. Okay.
I'm going to bring them forward.
This one's July 13th. Do you want me to read it?
It's new, or give a synopsis of it.
Yeah, so my neighbor's house sold June 23rd. He had a concrete drive put in. I have been in my home 8 years and never had water in my garage until this happened. I've talked to him, he's aware, but hasn't fixed it. Concrete guy said the water has to go somewhere, but legally, that's all I have.
Just so Ryan's aware, that's the second page. We didn't get the second page. I was going to
Yeah,
try and talk with you earlier, but you were tied up.
Yeah, it didn't have much more information. I drove past the location that they were speaking of. The lay of the land, the house is higher than the other house. The driveway's not built up on any sort. It goes straight with the grass that's already there. But it is the lay of the land. It just, one house is higher than the other and it just slopes. Everything slopes down in that direction. There was nothing done by the new homeowner to make it slope in that direction. That's just the way the land is now. My assumption is because now it is a driveway, it's concrete, the water's got to go somewhere. If there was a gravel driveway there before, it had some areas dispersed. But I don't see how she hasn't had water in there the entire time. Just the way that the lay of the land is. Her garage is here, the other garage is up here. The water's going to go down.
I don't know if that turns into a civil matter at that point?
Yeah, it pretty much is. This isn't a zoning issue. The only zoning we have, there's 2 things on driveways. One is access. If it's on our road, we get a decision. Our zoning says it's 2 feet away from the adjoining property, a minimum of 2 feet. And that was because we had usually, remember the snow fight arguments, you know, one neighbor's throwing their snow on the other neighbor's driveway. So they at least get 2 feet is the minimum distance from the property line. So yeah, this will be a civil matter.
Everybody didn't violate anything?
There's no violation. Ryan can just let her know that the township really has no authority in here. It's possible that this complainant should probably contact some of the excavators to look at options that are there. I have no idea what the lay of this land is, but you know, if they can catch that rainwater, whether with a swale or something underground, and you know, redirect it themselves to another part of their property.
No, at this point, yeah, it's a civil issue, drainage and water's got to go somewhere where it went before, where it's going now. I don't know. They'd have to look into that, but it's a civil issue. You don't impede the water or dump more water on somebody else.
And then we got another complaint on Deepwood Lane in Hidden Valley for overgrowth, 323. It looks
We're
like
familiar with this one.
Yeah, so that was just cut, I believe it was either Monday or over the weekend.
Okay.
The company got in contact with me. They're supposed to be sending the invoice.
Are there other violations there, the way this says it's been broken into?
We haven't even been able to get a hold of the homeowner in how many years? Years. So it's kind of just maintaining the yard every year. And we cut it
Go
last
and
year.
cut it and then bill the property owner then? If they don't
Yes,
maintain it?
yeah.
We put a
We have
lien
a
on
cut and then
their,
they-
on
Put a lien
their
on it.
house, on their
Right.
property taxes.
Okay, good. Okay.
We won't get the money until
Sells.
property taxes are there, or this thing sells. And even then, you might get less if it ends up going to auction or becomes part of the land bank, all that gets
Yeah,
wiped off.
might just eat it. Yeah. Okay, that was all I had for complaints.
All right, you have anything else, Neil, to bring up under complaints?
Just that it talked about the individual on South Dewey Road. He had two items. The one, Kevin's crew's already taken care of the road edge for him. As far as the erosion part, I haven't had stormwater out there. Don't know if they will be able to address this, where he's worried about the eroding land may impact the integrity of his garage. But this is actually on that same property, Golden Acres property, is what it abuts to. But we'll see. It's possible there may be something we can dovetail there, but it's not going to be a short-term thing, David. There was also, we had the complaint that came in through the website on the Lumos T-Fiber directional drilling safety. You all seen that. Linda and/or Morgan, I'm not sure which one of you finally put it out. We got the documentation. I didn't want this to sit and linger. I was waiting for something. Hopefully Lumos would have provided their own information, but since we already had the response from Amherst Fire Department and Columbia Gas, we wanted to get the information to him. And Linda, based on the $2,700 you're talking about reimbursement, it sounds like since those early gas line hits, they haven't had any recent ones then. But where this resident was concerned was they saw what happened in Twinsburg Township, where there was actually the home explosion. A different organization, but it was all with directional drilling. Then I can't recall if I've communicated with you guys. I think I sent you copies of the email. A resident down at Rustic Hill Lane is having frequent power disruptions. He's checked with his neighbors that he knows. He knows that his neighbor on one side on an issue, but he's gone down the road, and we know at least to a certain distance that they're without power, yet the residents across the street have power. And he's getting frustrated because, you know, we've had these high heat index days, and he's got no air conditioning working, no computer he can use, no television he can watch, and he's a retiree. So he's not a happy camper. And he's been in contact directly with First Energy, so hats off to him. He tried to take care of it himself. He did get a response from First Energy with a tag that they left on his door. Naturally, a few times he's not home, you know, they showed up, and he wasn't tech savvy. I asked him if he could take a photo, text it to me so I could get it moving and get it off to First Energy. He said he would drop it off, and he did, and Linda scanned it and sent it to me. I've been in contact with First Energy's local engagement specialist, Brian Baer, and their quality coordinator, Eric Weisenberger, as to what's going on Rustic Hill Lane. And they are appreciative now that they've got, hey, they know it's in this range and who has power and who doesn't. Hopefully they'll get on it sooner. And Brian sent me a communication, I think it was just today, that they've been in direct contact with the resident, which is what I'd asked for too. You know, talk with them directly so I'm not the go-between here, but definitely give me something in writing. And First Energy did that. So hopefully they'll get this done. And they did say they do have it scheduled to do the tree trimming in this area, but this is the whole general area. There's something going on with this particular circuit, so hopefully they can get this corrected. I talked to this particular individual. I said, encourage your neighbors to contact First Energy too, because sometimes that squeaky wheel hears. And I know this gentleman because I remember when he used to manage the Little League baseball teams. I never had his son, but I know his son. We were always competing against each other, but I know he's not a shrinking violet. So he's gonna stay on this, but we'd like to get those residents some help if we can. But all we can do is keep contacting First Energy, just like I hope they will. But First Energy is aware that there is a problem down there. So they just got to determine what the root cause is, and then let us know, well, what are you going to do to correct it? So that's all I've got for complaints, David.
Okay, I have nothing further to bring forward at this time under complaints. I have nothing to bring forward under unfinished business. Do you, Jeremy, have anything? Nope. Neil?
No, David, I do not.
Anything to bring forward under new business? Okay, I have nothing under new business at this time. An executive session at this time. Like to entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1.
That's the one for personnel?
Personnel,
Okay,
yes.
can you also add just quickly for legal, David, so I can bring an update on the annexation?
Hold on. Where's legal at? Which one's that one?
I think it's
I think it's
three,
three.
but
3, G1 and G3. Okay, G1 and G3. Okay, I so move.
Second.
Aaron?
All righty. Yes.
Watson?
Yep.
Lynch?
Okay.
yes.
I'll make a motion to return from executive session.
Second.
Urick?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Lynch?
Yes.
All right. We're now back from executive session. At this time, our next regular meeting will be 2 weeks from tonight, July 28th, 2026, at 7 p.m. at the Amherst Township Hall. And we'll call work sessions or special meetings as needed. Are there any other items to come before the board? If no one has anything else to bring forward, then I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Lynch?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Urick?
Yes. All right, meeting's